Filipinos. Two fat Filipinos talking in the house. We two fat Filipinos that you can't deny. Let's talk for a while, baby, give it a try. Listen in and check out what we have to say. You all know this, we just be doing this our way.
What is up, everyone? We are back. Two fat Filipinos, Papa Bear and Crispy Papa, back in the
Yeah.
house.
Hell yeah,
Not getting
baby.
monetized, not getting any money, but we're having fun. So who cares?
That's who we are. And I'd like to share this with all of you. With all of you, I shared this with my brother earlier. So I got like some feedback from a friend of mine, a really good friend. I will not name this person. This person was like telling me, "What's your goal? Like, what's your goal? What's your audience?" And I said, "Well, we just talk about stuff that come into mind. We have a topic every episode." And then she starts blabbing off, and then thank you for the feedback. I did not tell her. I did not tell this individual like, okay, that's fine. Where's your YouTube channel? I did not I took the high ground and just took the feedback. And I've been taking some constructive I know I can take constructive criticism, okay? But in the meantime, yeah, I would like to take constructive criticism from an actual YouTuber if that's the case, you know. That's where
Well,
I'll get my that's where I'll get my shits.
we did get a constructive criticism from a YouTuber
Was it one
last
of
week.
our was it in a comment or just somebody
No,
messaged you?
no. Remember the GC I created? I'm not gonna name the person, but he is also a YouTuber.
Oh,
And
that. Yeah.
he's doing pretty good actually. And he kind of just gave the same feedback as your friend. But the thing is, what they don't understand is we're not aiming to do anything with this. If we are, then you'd know.
Yeah, it's
But
just being creative and just being, like
yeah,
I
man.
don't just getting stuff out there, especially during the last episode about the one about the BPO experience, okay? I'm pretty sure I did not post snippets of it, but I'm pretty sure that if people listen to it, and especially from the BPO world or the BPO community, I mean, they probably would have had like a chance to digest it. Yes.
And again, this is just something we do for fun. We talk every week anyway, so we just decided to record it and put this cool graphic behind us and drop a single. The single's gonna be linked in the description. It's
Yes, it
cool.
is.
It is cool, yo. I never thought I'll be part of any like songs in my life because I do love singing, I do love songs, I do love music. Music doesn't love me, so it's cool in my opinion. But anyway, this week we are gonna talk about something that we both have been part of, both sides of it, and that is interviews.
All right, the interviews. Oh, by the way, before we go to the interviews, I think we need to mention our sponsors. I have one that needs mentioning. How about you?
Okay, I have one too. Let me say my sponsors. I would like to thank backer of the Cybers for not or let me just say it, right? Who cares?
Yeah, you can
I
say it. Who cares?
I'd like to thank Cyberbacker for um sponsoring this episode. How did they sponsor this episode? They did not hire this guy. So and that's a cool thing, right? Because now you have like a fresh experience. I am gonna ask you about that.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
So thank
And I'd
you
like
for
to.
thank you for sponsoring us. They're not sponsoring us, but
Oh,
whatever.
motherfucker. Okay. Well, but by the way, pardon our candid use of profanity. That's just how we roll. All right. And I'd like to thank our sponsor for today, Jollibee Philippines. If you're gonna eat at Jollibee, well, you're the fucking champ. Okay. I just had three
Oh
champs
my
last
god.
week. I just had three champs last week in one sitting. Okay. As a fat
What?
person, I am capable of doing that. I didn't eat the entire day. I just called Jollibee and said, you know what? Hey, send me some food. And they did send me some food. That was wonderful, but I had to pay.
Ah, of course, you had to pay. So thank you, Jollibee, for sponsoring our food and nourishing my brother for a day. but but we still had to pay, so whatever. So interviews. Uh, this is like a topic that it's everywhere in the uh in Facebook, in Reddit, in other platforms.
Hmm.
So how do you ace an interview? I'm gonna go through three or four phases, but first, I'd like to get the initial interview out of the way. I have done final interviews before. I have obviously been through the whole process plus more. And my brother has not only gone through the process, he applied initial, behavioral, and exams, and then final interview. He also did interviews before. And another thing, he even trained recruiters on how to actually interview people. So in my opinion, that's a good nugget to share with everyone. So my brother,
Yes, sir.
enlighten us.
Okay. Well, what would you need enlightenment on?
How do we ace the final interview or the initial interview? What do we need? What do we need to focus on? Do's and don'ts, tips, this and that. What's up?
Okay. You did say final interview. Okay. So,
Initial first. Initial
oh,
first.
initial first.
Yeah.
Okay. So the initial interview usually would depend on the industry. Okay. So I can tell you about my experience with regard to the call center industry. So for the BPO industry or the call center industry, the initial interview is to gauge your English speaking capabilities, right? They really don't care much about everything else in between, but essentially, they'll listen to your cadence, they'll listen to your ability to pronounce words, uh, they'll grammar check you, spot on checks, stuff like that. And if you pass, which is actually a lot easier than you may think, because initial interviews usually take between 5 to 10 minutes, 15 minutes tops. All right, that's actually a good thing. Afterwards, you will be pre-screened or pre-selected for an account in a call center that they have openings for, and they will already look at your credentials, whether or not you're going to be fit, whether or not you have the background for it, whether or not you have the experience in one way or another, and they will put you through another interview, usually something that's behavioral, or
Hold on. We'll
yeah,
talk about that later. Just
okay.
stick to the initial first.
Just speak for the initial. Okay, just the initial, and well, pretty much that's it. They're just gonna rate your language skills, at least in my experience, and for the experience in the call center industry or the BPO world. They'll just rate your cadence, your delivery, your timing, and also your level of confidence. Okay, which I think is um, probably the hardest and or the easiest things to mask, depending on your situation. Okay. You've gone through those interviews too, right?
Oh my god, a lot. I am Yeah, I've gone through them a lot. So my very first initial interview, uh man, it's been a long time. But anyway, back in ACS, they're alive again. So if you watched last week, we mentioned ACS, but yes, that was my first initial interview. I was able to pass. I don't remember what the recruiter asked me, but I passed, so who cares? Um, do you have any tips uh, for people that are not that confident and for those that are suffering mental blocks? Because that's pretty common. I've seen that before. Luckily, I've never been through it. Uh, but what would you say is like one of the things that they can maybe try and do before and during those interviews?
Okay, try and do before and during. Um, well, first of all, First of all, in the during these modern times, or at least nowadays, all right, after like YouTube's boom or whatnot, you can already look at tutorials on how to pass interviews online. All right, and there are a lot of tutorials, even on YouTube, where they're actually going to teach you. And I've seen several that they're pretty decent. All right, so you can try that. You can practice. For me though, as a language coach and as an English instructor, some of the tips that I can tell you that before the interview, you should at the very least, find out number one, something about your company. Do a little bit of research about your company because more often than not, the interviewer will ask, "So how did you find out about our company?" Okay. And usually some people would just not give it a second glance. I know I haven't because, at several points in my life I had to apply. And the honest answer was, well, I didn't really care. I just, sent a bunch of resumes. All right. So essentially, you're still going to have to put in an effort and just do a little bit of research. Number two, in terms of practicing, once more, I mentioned you can look at YouTube tutorials. However, the best way to practice is with someone else. Okay, someone else. And when I say someone else, I'm not saying your mom or your friend or somebody that you just met off the street. No, and that would be dangerous. So don't do that. But I would advise you to actually talk to someone who either has experience in the industry or who is well versed in the language or in English. Okay. And why do I do that? Because you can practice in front of a YouTube tutorial all day, and you probably won't even get better because they can't react to your responses. If you don't really have anybody to practice on, well, just go ahead and ask someone to listen to you. Give them like a bunch of questions and see if you can answer it in front of them, right? And usually, some of the questions that they ask would be, why do you think you're perfect for this job? Those basic stuff. How do you hear about our company? Um, what do you think are the qualities that make you a good fit? Some of those, and another favorite is, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Like in terms of your future or your tenure with the company, they're already trying to gauge where you want to be at. Okay, and those are very easy questions to answer, right? The third pro tip I would advise you to do is to never memorize answers to a question because that will blank you out so fast if the interviewer asks you a question that wasn't on the list that you just memorized. Okay. Try to broaden your imagination. If you really want to start off in a at the right foot, just write down some bullet points, okay, on a piece of paper, and just look at them every now and then before going on an interview, or at least before practicing. Okay, keep your responses succinct, but also don't be afraid to expound around maybe two or three sentences for every answer, which would be within the realm of 30 seconds to a minute and a half for each response. Yes, it's essentially an interview is a conversation. It's still a conversation, but you're the one mostly responding, and the person is just asking you questions. It's no different from going on a first date and asking your date like, "So, what do you like?" or "What do you like to listen to?" It's the same thing, right? It's getting to know each other, even though that person who's interviewing you, you probably will not get to talk to them for the rest of your life, which is almost how some of my dates went. Okay, so I'd like to
Oh,
throw this.
oh
I'd
my
like to.
goodness. Okay.
Why are you laughing so hard? I mean, it's just the truth. Okay, and I'd like to throw this back at you, my brother. All right. In terms of interviews, like what do you think has worked for you in terms of preparation? Because my preparation, I know, is different from yours. So I'd like to get to know your side.
I don't know if you're gonna believe this, but I don't prepare for initial interviews.
Okay. I would
I've
believe that. I
I've
would believe
never
that at least.
I've never prepared for an initial interview. My very first one, I did not know what to expect. Again, this is like 15 years ago. YouTube is not a big thing here in the Philippines back then. We didn't even
Hmm.
have internet back then. I think we have a computer. Yeah, that I used to play NBA Live. NBA Live on. But in terms of profession, I can't really help you, to be honest. Um, and in most cases, anyway, I prefer to go in blind and fly by the seat of my pants.
There you go.
Ah. So
Now, if you're unaware of that idiomatic expression, well, you can go ahead and look it up because that's exactly what we are doing as we speak.
as we speak, I said this in the last episode. We don't know what we're doing. We're just doing what sounds fun. So
Yes.
again, I have no idea. I have no clue. I can't help you with preparation. However, when you're there and you're not blank out, you're not too nervous to speak. Um, I just answer the question. You're right. It's a conversation. So sometimes sometimes I just have fun with it and ask them questions. Have you ever asked your initial interviewer questions? I have,
I have
and
actually.
it's fun to see their reaction on the question because they just move on to the next question. So
And sometimes they
uh,
don't even respond. When you throw an interviewer a question, usually if they don't know the answer,
but
they'll come up with something like, "Well, I'm not the best person to answer that question."
I've had that. Yes, I've had that, and but still, I try to have fun with it. But again, please don't do that if you're not 100% confident in at least getting through the initial interview.
Yes,
After
because
the
they might
initial,
they, they might see that as an affront. Okay.
yeah, that might be seen as a an attitude, and you may not fit the what they're looking for,
Oh
which
wait,
is like yeah.
yeah. Before we go into the next point, I'd like to know something because I'd like
So
to share some stuff too.
please do.
But I'd like to know something. Would you mind sharing one of your best and worst initial interviews? Or maybe you know what, just to keep it spicy, maybe we stick to one of the worst initial interviews. Do you
I
have
have
anything like that?
none. Sorry,
Are you kidding? Come on.
I'm not. I'm not. So at the danger of sounding like an arrogant asshole. Well, I am an asshole, but I'm not an arrogant asshole. But I have never failed a call center agent level interview ever, ever. I'm talking initial um exams. What do you call that? Whatever. Uh,
The
culture fit.
assessments?
Yeah, assessments. Yeah,
Yes.
culture fit interviews and final interviews. I have never failed one in my life. I probably have taken close to 30 or maybe more than 30 of them. I'm talking just agent role, but in other roles, I have failed spectacularly.
And
In
I share the same sentiments because every agent role that I've applied for, which was right after my tenure in Sykes, I've passed. Okay, but I've declined most of them. Right. And I have gone through my fair share of really, really bad initial interviews, especially over the phone.
maybe you
Yeah.
can share them because I got nothing to share.
Okay. Okay, fine. I actually posted this on my Facebook page. I don't know if it was last year. All right. I'm not gonna name the call center. So the guy who talks to me, he is how do I put this delicately? Okay, he's a member of the LGBTQ community.
Don't put it
And
delicately. We're unfiltered. We
fine,
are
he's
unfiltered,
fine.
unedited.
He was a guy, he was gay, and I think he was having a rough time. Or I think he was having a bad day. Okay, because his
I
tone was
remember
already
this.
like his tone was already irate. And I used to teach people like this how to conduct interviews. All right. He was already irate and he was already asking me questions. Okay. And then he asked me a question like, uh was there a time when you were asked to do something that you did not want to do? And I said, yes. And these were my exact words. Yes, there was a time when my supervisor asked me to create a project or to write a proposal for a project, and the project was almost impossible to get off the ground. The demand was a little bit unrealistic. However, she was my supervisor. I respected her, so in the end, I acquiesced and I prepared a proposal for her the next day. And the interviewer, the guy asked, "Acquiesce? What's acquiesce?" Acquiesce. Acquiesce is a word that means that you gave in with regard. It's like you giving in to something that you don't want to give into. And then the interviewer said, "Acquiesce. I'm sorry. In my years of being an interviewer, I have not ever heard or have ever heard anybody use that word before. Please don't make up any made up words during the rest of this interview." And I was like, "Damn. Okay, I didn't make that up. It's ACQUIESCE, I think. All right. Pardon if I made an error in my spelling. Okay. So the next question he asked was, what have you been most what is something that you are most proud of? Okay, so I proceeded to answer the question. I said, well, as a trainer, I am most proud of the agents that I've trained who would go on to become coaches themselves, trainers, QAs, team leaders, and the like. And I'm very proud that none of them were or are as arrogant as you as per talking to an individual over the phone. Thank you for your time, but I would thank you for your time, but I declined the position and I just hung up. So that was shitty as hell. Okay. And not to sound as arrogant as not to be an arrogant asshole, but I know what I'm doing and I know what I hear. All right. The guy shouldn't have even been an interviewer. I mean, his English was horrendous. Okay. But that's what you get. So yeah, that was probably the worst initial interview I've ever had in my life. So yeah.
I I remember, uh, and this is very apropos for today. I'll tell you in a minute. But this initial interview, I don't believe. Well, I also rejected the interview um, right after this happened, and I told you about this a couple months ago, and I just remembered.
Go
So
ahead, brother.
there's this company. It's called the Studio. I don't think they still exist. If they do, too bad. If they don't, great. Why? So this person called me over the phone. I forgot his name, and asked me about my resume. Cool. I answered them. So he asked like my family situation, which is already weird in and of itself. So I said my mom passed away, and she did back in 2013. Now this motherfucker uh, asked what happened, and I said, "Oh, she was murdered because she was shot twice in the back along Governor Pascual Avenue in Malabon." And this is again, I'm trying to contain my rage because I'm still pissed off about this. This motherfucker said, "Are you just telling me, or are you just making up this story to get sympathy to get the job?"
Oh, motherfucker. Yeah, I
Like,
remember that.
I'll speak in Tagalog for just one word. Like, putang ina mo, your company is not prestigious enough for me to make up shit just to get into it. You know what I'm saying? And I know for a fact that they offer like 19,000 pesos. And back in 2015, 2016, when this happened, that's still ill, but not bad. But still, motherfucker, I am not gonna use my mother's death for any job I'll ever have in my whole entire life. Never gonna happen. So, uh, I wrote an impassioned email to their CEO. It's a very long email, and I don't usually like get hung up about things like that, but this crossed the line. There are like a lot of lines to cross, and this motherfucker crossed them all. And So I emailed a very long, very impassioned email to the CEO. 2 days later, the manager of this person called me up and apologized and asked if we can continue the application process. And I said, hell to the motherfucking no. You know, the excuse that they gave is this person is new. Please understand. So I gave the situation back to her. Like, if I get hired in your company and I get put into an account, whatever account that is, I'll be new, right? I'll be a newbie. I'll be a trainee and I'll be undergoing training, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll be on the phones. My very first call, my very first day, my very first week, whatever. I'm new. I still don't know how things work, right? If I use that term or if I use that excuse for any clients or callers, would that be acceptable?
No, hell
And
no.
why is the studio's hiring manager using that stupid reason on me? Like what the fuck, right?
I know,
So,
right?
as you guys can tell, I am still pissed a decade later. And wherever that person is, I hope hindi masarap ang ulam niya. Uh, like
And for our English listeners, he just said, for the wherever that person is, I hope that his viands or his food doesn't taste that good.
not good at all, like at all. So, uh, I guess that is my worst initial interview experience. I did have one, and I mentioned it's apropos for today because today, as we're recording it, is March 10th, 2025. It is my mother's 58th birthday. So,
And
uh,
I'm praying for your mom. My condolences again to you, and I hope that you continue to live up to her expectations, brother.
I'm hoping that I do, but that is the initial interview.
Yes. So
So,
in essence, um, somebody actually accused me of using a made up word, and you were accused of coming up with a made up story.
that's
Okay,
that's
bad
pretty much
shit
what it
for
is. Yeah.
bad shit for initial interviews. But I think you also made a good point, because giving the excuse, oh, he's new. Okay, guess what? Nobody cares. Yes, because as to your point, when somebody is gonna call you and you're gonna handle a customer, that customer is not gonna understand. They're not gonna care. Actually, if you give the excuse, "Oh, I'm new," I'll probably get a lot even madder. It's like, what? You're using that as an excuse for poor service, poor behavior, poor manners.
Not only that, your QA is gonna die.
Aha.
Not just your QA score, but the actual QA that's listening to your call is probably gonna die because they are gonna be pissed. And
Yes.
imagine working for a company like that. Like, no, I'm good. Fuck you.
Yes. So
So,
what we're saying is, this is actually most likely another tip. If you get the job, okay, never use that excuse, because that's not an
ever.
excuse.
It's not. And again, in most cases, it's actually not allowed for you to say that you're new,
Oh, that's actually good. Yeah,
right? So,
that's good.
moving on. I wanted to like separate these two, but I feel like it's better if we combine them.
Okay.
What do I mean? Culture fit and behavioral interviews. I'm not gonna talk about assessments because assessments can be whatever, right? We can't predict them. However, it's in most cases, if not all, there's gonna be an ass- it's like it is an interview, but it's more geared towards your behavior and your culture fit or the fit
Mm.
that you would have in your potential next company. So, what do you think are the good or are tips or do's and don'ts of to ace the second interview, the culture fit slash behavioral interview?
Okay. The the cultural and behavioral interview is actually a lot easier to, at least for me, it's a lot easier to go by. Why? Because they're looking for very specific answers. All right. Some questions are easy, some questions are difficult. Like a question for behavior would be, how do you handle stress? All right. So you have to be able to respond to it in a way that uh, that you manage stress, but then you have to segue towards something like doing something productive, okay, and making sure that I leave my shit at the office and I don't bring it home. So when I get back the next day, I'm stress free. Those are the things that they want to hear. They don't want to hear you. They don't want to hear emotional responses like I'm gonna cry, or I'm gonna go to my friends. I'm gonna skip work after a couple of days. Obviously that's a red flag. All right, but that's a good point. Um, just tell them what they want to hear because all they want to hear is, you know what, I don't even care about stress. I just leave stress, at the back burner, and then I just go forth with my day. Usually that's about it. Or something like the culture of the call center. Like the cultural a cultural question would be, how do you describe how you work with others? Okay, because they want to know whether or not you're a team player. Okay, so if your answer is I don't really work well with others, I like to be by myself, well then you're a shoo-in not to go past that stage. Okay, it's easy to just say stuff like that if you're gonna be totally honest, right? But if you want the job, you're most likely gonna have to adhere towards the culture they have, right? And I'm not telling you guys to lie, okay? But essentially, I'm telling you to say something else if you want the job.
I'm telling
Okay.
you a lie. Like,
So just essentially just say I work well with others. I'm really good at following directions. I am working towards being a leader myself, but in order to be able to lead, I know I should be able to follow, and I will take my team leader's lead, and I will follow through. I'll do whatever he asks of me. I'll make sure to do it with the best of my ability. Yeah, that's the
perfect
A
answer.
ranking response. Okay, that's the
Indeed, it
response
is.
that'll get you through the door.
Elite
Okay.
answer right there. But again, most, if not all of those things are not true. Like, probably. So you are lying, and it's okay.
I guess yeah. I guess you can just cut the bullshit. Yeah, lie. You want the
Yeah,
job? Go ahead and lie.
yeah, fake it till you make it, but make sure that when you're there, you actually try and do those things. At least try. Because if you don't at least try, then you're fucked.
And that's actually good because if you at least try and then you change your behavior, it turns out that you weren't lying at the interview. It means that you actually went ahead and changed your mindset and adapted to the environment.
There you
I
go.
think that's a lot harder than lying. So yeah.
It is. It is because if you lie, you try to make up stories, and sometimes the story gets mixed up in your head. But if you just do what you're supposed to do, then that's great. However, they don't pay the bills. They don't put food on the table. They don't buy you the phone. They don't buy you anything. So what I'm gonna say is, if you are desperate for a job, like me and my brother here, at times
I'm
and
very
currently,
desperate right now.
there you go. Uh, why not make sure that you get the job that you need, right? Because in especially now in 2025, everything is expensive. You gotta make dough. You gotta work. So why not, do whatever you can to make sure that you do get this job. That's all I'm saying.
All right, and believe it or not, I've had a ton of experience. I have a very unique skill set, all right, which is improving day in and day out. And I'm still unable to land a job ever since I was let go last January. So right now I'm a little bit in awe of what's happening, you
Im-
know.
Imagine that, like a dude having 20 years of experience under his belt, having a difficult time looking for an entry level job.
Maybe it's
How?
because I'm already 20 years experienced, I'm probably old. They need
But
younger blood.
uh, But still, if they're looking for like experience and skills, they can't find anybody better than somebody with your credentials, right?
Yeah, so
If
maybe, yeah, but if they're looking for a pretty face, I'm sorry to say they got the
yeah,
worst end of it. I'm butt ugly as it is.
but if you and me applied for the same position and only one needs to get hired, you're probably gonna get hired. Luckily for me and you, when we did apply for the same position, they were looking for two people, so
Yes, and
they
we both
hired
got
both of us.
hired. Yeah, I know, right?
So that's that. Uh, before uh we move on to our favorite spot, or I guess this is like where most, or well, this is where all of us would like to move on to after the second interview, and that is the final interview.
Ah,
I am sure you have done your share of final interviews where you are the interviewee and you are the interviewer.
yes, I
I
have.
have done that as well. So my before we get into that, I'd like to have a fat breaker.
Oh, the fat breaker is here. Okay.
Yes, sir. So just one. I need you to rank three. I'm thinking if it's either going to be a celebrity or a like corn star. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck that.
I mean, dude, why the
Just
hell not?
yeah, just ask the question then.
Okay.
Allow me to
Yeah,
rank them. Okay.
yeah, rank three corn stars. Your favorite. It could be all time. Could be right now. I don't
Oh,
care.
come on.
Yeah. Okay. Just right now.
Uh, oh my god.
Enthusiast right here,
And
dude.
you're
You
asking me to rank my top
yeah,
three favorite
just
porn
top
stars.
three. Yeah. You said the fat breaker should be embarrassing ourselves. How can it not get more embarrassing than this?
Holy crap. You know what? This sucks. But yeah, fine, I'll do it. I was okay with you saying celebrity. Okay. Holy shit. Okay, that's fine. My top three favorite porn stars. Um I have to be honest,
Doesn't have to be in order.
I did watch a lot of porn. The guys do that all the time. It's free, okay, in the internet, you know. But number three I think would be, again, this is like something that I've never really thought about, so I'm really put in an embarrassing spot. And I'll be quite honest, I'm not familiar with a lot of their names, though I'm familiar with the top three that I'm gonna give out. Okay, so top three would be Keisha Gray. I think she works for Brazzers, right? Very cute girl, very lithe young thing with a space between her teeth. Yeah, check it out. Keisha Gray, spelled Keisha. Gray is either Gray or Grey. I think it's Gray. Okay. Man, it suddenly sounds like I'm sponsoring her or something. This is fucked up.
Dude,
Okay.
you don't have to plug her, dude. Not that kind of plug.
Okay. Well,
Not that
number
kind of
two
plug.
would be Mia Khalifa. I think he knows who that is. All right, there you go. Was that a thumbs down or were you pointing at your chest?
No, that's a thumbs down. Not a fan.
Okay, that's fine. Um, I'm actually only saying her name because that's one of the only other porn stars that I actually know the name of. Okay, so
Let's get to the top one.
number one is Sola Aoi. It's SoraAoi. She's retired, thankfully. Okay, but she's a very beautiful Japanese AV idol. They don't even call them porn stars there in Japan. They call them AV idols. It's adult video idols. Okay.
Like, oh my goodness, bro. That's like a way back machine type of thing right there. But thank you for answering. Let's go to the final interview
Wait,
questions.
I still have
Oh
to
wait,
fucking ask you an icebreaker question as well.
don't I have to answer the same thing?
No, you don't have to answer. Do you want to answer the same thing?
I don't mind. I already have the
Okay.
three in my head.
All right. Oh, shit. Oh, go ahead. I was supposed to
But
ask you a different question, but I would really rather you answer the same question. Go ahead.
I don't mind at all. Uh, this is in no particular order. It just depends on the time of day.
Although I
Uh,
would really ask you to. give me a short explanation as to why?
Okay, not a problem. So number one, Abigail Morris, and her Abigail
Oh,
has two eyes in it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I think I
Uh,
remember.
yeah.
Okay.
Number two is Gia Lisa.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Number three is it's kind of a toss up, but I'll say Angela White.
Angela White.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why Abigail Morris? She's a redhead,
Ah,
kind of
yeah.
tall, kind of pale. And then why Gielisa? She's a redhead. and this time she's like kind of petite, and she's like dude, she has like a movie star face. Have you seen her? If you know her,
I
you would probably
I
agree.
actually I actually think that I have seen her. Yes.
Yeah. And then Angela White is like she just seems like a cool person to actually hang out with and not just to do corn stuff with. So you know you FMK, you know what that game is. I'll use that in my next uh
All
Fat Breaker FMK. So I'm not gonna name names, but yeah, we're gonna play FMK.
right. I'm already imagining like our male subscribers or listeners typing those names in. Okay. So maybe if for the sake of modesty, but fuck that shit.
Yeah,
Guys,
fuck that
hey,
shit.
what are your top three porn stars? Put them
Yeah,
down in the
comment
comments.
comment your top three porn stars. We're all adults here. We're all
Yes.
dudes here,
And
and
if
maybe some
they're if they're
dudettes
if they're if they're ladies watching, maybe if you're fancy some guy besides those dudes dancing their
or
asses off,
girl
and yeah,
or girl.
if you fancy a guy, I mean, your favorite adult video actors, actresses, yeah, go ahead and type that in. I do not want to see anybody from any Korean pop groups though. Please, no, none of those. Okay?
How about P-pop, like Beanie,
No, come
the
on.
likes MNL48? What are some other um groups? I'm not really sure.
Yes, let's not go there because I only know a couple and I don't like them. All right, and
Okay,
I
okay.
and I and I and I wa-
Panic.
and I watched a documentary on the K-pop craze. It was actually very interesting, you know. However, I do not want to get into that. Just type down in the comments maybe on what other topics you think should be placed in here, or maybe what fat breaker questions Chrissy Papa and I could answer for you guys. So go ahead and put those in the comments. All
And
right.
just for the lulls, I have another fat breaker for you.
Come on. Okay.
Just one more. Just one more.
Fine.
Because
Fine.
I love the idea of an FMK game. Do you know what's an FMK game?
Why don't you enlighten everybody?
FMK game is fuck, marry, kill. I will give you three names. You have to pick one to marry, one to fuck, one to kill.
There has to be a reason why. That's the thing. See, okay, fine, go ahead.
All right. So I'm gonna give you uh celebrities this time. Eh?
Thank you.
Uh, um, More specifically, I'll give you early 2000s pop stars.
Okay, okay.
So FMK, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Jessica Simpson.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. This is
Oh,
fun.
this is gonna
Screw
be
the
difficult.
final interview.
This is gonna be freaking difficult. You know why? Because I know I'm not sure if all of the three of them were divorced already, but okay, fine. All right. Like
Yeah,
this
they
is
are they are all they were divorced at one point in their lives, but who cares, man? This is don't dive too
yes,
deep
yes. I'm
into it.
going. Oh no, come on. I'm an overthinker. You know that I
I
actually will
know.
have to think about it. Okay, fine. All right. um so in order of appearance, I actually got to know Britney first, Christina next, and Jessica Simpson. So who will I fuck? Um I'll most likely I'll most likely fuck Christina Aguilera, because she seems like the type of girl that might just let anybody do her. All right.
This this is Xtina era you're thinking about.
Yes, I'm
Dirty.
thinking about that, especially uh especially, because I'm
Dirty.
thinking about her song "What a Girl Wants." What
Oh,
a Girl
not
Wants
dirty.
is my thing. I'm not thinking about dirty at all. Okay,
I
I
mean,
will. What?
what when Dirty came out, I think in 2000 and 2001, please correct us. I was like 10 or 11 years old. So as you can tell, yes, she was part of the reason why I'm 6'1".
Oh shit. Okay.
Just saying. Just saying.
Well, I was already an adult then, so no.
You're
Um,
so fucking old.
I will. I will most likely kill. I'll most likely kill Jessica Simpson, just because her goody two shoes act back then marrying Nick Lachey only to divorce him. I actually saw through their reality show that she was actually an entitled bitch and she doesn't know how to clean. All right, any woman who doesn't know how
Eh,
to clean or cook, well, just fucking kill him. Right, and I'll marry Britney Spears because I think she's probably the richest out of the three, and if she's gonna divorce me, I'm gonna get a settlement. Maybe I'll get alimony too. So yeah.
there's a prenup.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sign a prenup. Mhm.
Wow.
If
Okay.
she wants to marry this pretty hot and tempting dude, right? If she wants to marry this fat guy, no, no fucking prenup. Like fuck you. Okay, I'll just go bag some other chick. Fuck.
Of course, it's easy for you to bag it at a chick, right?
Oh yeah,
Right.
that is easier. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Wait.
I'm
I
gonna.
just want to share this. I just want to share this first.
Okay.
I was a fan, like an avid fan, avid follower of their reality show, Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey. I'm talking like every single Sunday night. I was glued to my TV, and again, this is back in when I was in Saipan, so I did have access to MTV, and yeah, I was a fan. I'm not proud of it, but I was. I was also a fan of Pangako Sa'yo,
Okay.
so take that with a grain of salt.
All right. I am.
Let me
Okay.
have your FMK game.
All right. My FMK game for you is: who would you fuck, marry, or kill out of the five Spice Girls? Fucker.
Dude, only three.
I know, but you still have to pick from the five. Pick three
Okay.
from the five. So you're gonna have to leave two out.
Okay, I'm leaving uh Mel B out,
Oh, why?
and I'm
Because she's so
leaving
scary.
Victoria. No, Mel B is what? Sporty Spice.
Oh no, that's Mel C. Mel B is Melanie Brown. That's
Oh yeah,
Scary
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Spice.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
leaving Mel
really
C out. Mel C
it's
Chisholm.
really weird to know that I know that. I still can't believe I remember that.
And I
Okay.
just want to remind everyone that when Spice Girls was big in 95, 96, 97, I was 6 years old. Six. I don't know what FMK means by that. But anyway, I will answer. Why not? Um, so I'll leave out Mel C. I'll also leave out Posh.
Okay.
They're just not my not my thing. So FMK, the remaining three Spice Girls, Baby, Scary, and
Wait,
what's Jerry Halliwell?
you said Jerry Halliwell is Ginger. Mel,
Ginger. Okay.
you wait. You kept saying you wanted to keep up Mel B. Mel B is scary. Are you thinking of Mel C, which is sporty?
Uh, no, I'm keeping Mel B. I'm
Okay, so
leaving
you're
off Mel B.
removing sporty.
Yeah, I'm removing
Okay,
Sporty and Posh. So
okay,
I'm gonna kill Ginger because just not my type. But I did enjoy her music video of "It's Raining Men,"
oh yeah,
especially
that's
the
classic.
especially the ending sequence. If you know, you know.
I know.
I'm gonna fuck Scary Spice because I'll tell you offline. If I say this, we're gonna get banned from YouTube and probably sued. So I'm gonna tell you offline. But
Okay.
yes, I'm gonna fuck Scary, and then I'm gonna marry Baby because she's pretty.
Well, that I would actually agree with you there. I think that's probably the best choice. I think she's the sweetest out of all five too.
Yeah,
Would make a
yeah,
great
yeah.
I think out of all five of them, yeah, I think she would make the best wife.
Exactly. So we're talking like marriage, right? So she has to be a wife. So I'm taking, you know, Emma, Emma Bunton.
All
But
right. Are you
that
saying that because she also looks like your partner?
does she? No, she doesn't.
With the what?
At
With
all?
the skin tone. I
No,
mean.
no, no, not at all.
Okay.
No, no, not at all. Now that they're probably the same height though.
Oh, there you go.
That's something.
Okay.
But anyway, let's go back to business, shall we?
All right. Yes. What a wonderful segue.
Final interview. I want to put a twist to this segment. I'd like for you to let me know your perspective when you were doing the final interview. So you're the interviewer. What are you looking for? What are the telltale signs, if you will, of somebody that's not gonna be a good part of your company?
Okay. Well, I've only been on a final interview. I've only had like actually no, I've had several because I did conduct final interviews for several classes as well as the final interview for English coaches and apprentices. And I've also done final interviews for several accounts. Okay. So from my perspective, depending on my what do you call this? Depending on my position, depending on who I'm hiring for, okay, there are different perspectives. But essentially, I'm always looking for a person who is driven and a person who is willing to go the extra mile. So I usually ask questions, situational questions, like um, you have a deadline on Friday but you had to take an emergency leave on Wednesday to take care of your ailing mom. Nobody is available to help you with your project. So what are you going to do? All right. So essentially, what I'm looking for is that if if I'm taking care of my mother on Wednesday, I'm probably going to be spending the night in the office on Thursday. All right. Essentially, they're gonna have to give me situations where they're gonna overcome that specific barrier. And there was also one individual who gave me a very cool answer. Um, this individual said, "Well, if I can't make it to work on Wednesday and I have to finish the project, I'll just take care of my mom while my mom is resting. I'll most likely work on it at home. It's much like high school, just doing homework, you know." And I like that way of thinking. I like the way of thinking that they can accomplish a task and um they're not backing down from the challenge and they might have to put in a little effort. A little effort goes a long way. Either that or I asked them out of the box questions, like something that you wouldn't necessarily find you wouldn't necessarily encounter in a final interview, and that's to throw them off balance, throw them off scale. All right. I
Like what I
remember
did with the
once,
fat check or the fat
yeah,
fat breaker
something like
question.
that. Yeah, something like that. I remember when I was hiring for an English coach apprentice, there were three of them. I had to pick one. All three of them were very skilled, probably the same skill level. And I actually asked them something out of the box. Okay, let's say let's say the situation is you have to write a story you had to write a story about your life. Okay, what would the book be entitled? And if it was going to be made into a film, who would star as you and why? Right? So, in essence, I'm actually giving them the opportunity to become the protagonist in their own story, and how they respond to that. All right, will tell me a lot about them, whether or not are they humble, or whether or not are they arrogant, or whether or not there's something in between. I mean, starring in your own movie, in your own story, you're going to have to feel like a little bit of arrogance. However, if you choose to remain a little bit humble through the process, it's it's cool. At least it says a lot about you. And throwing something that different in a final interview Okay, it tells me a lot about not only their creativity, their imagination, but how quick they think on their feet, on their feet, which says a lot about something that I've also trained, which is I forgot the term, uh, but it's when things are thrown into chaos. Like what happens if everything goes wrong? How do you how do you respond to that? Yeah, quick thinking, right? And I've done that so many times, and yeah, I think the right person I hired for that job gave me the best answer. I will not name the name. I forgot the title of the book, but I specifically remember this was back in 2012 or 2013 that she was a lady, all right, and that the person who was going to star in her movie, because she asked me, could it be an actress or an actress who already passed away? And I said, yeah, anybody. Okay, and this person says Judy Garland. All right, I was so freaking impressed. All right, and she told me why. All right, and I was like, oh wow, okay, good imagination. Yeah, quick thinking. So for her to think of something like that, just at least in my mind, it clicked. And she actually ended up being a very good employee, and she was actually promoted several times after that.
How about you? Who's gonna play you in your own movie?
Obviously, I'd like Vin Diesel to play in my own movie. All right.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Oh, there you go, baby. Okay, and you?
Keenan Thompson
Okay. From all that and Saturday Night Live, man.
and
All right.
Keenan and Kel. Keenan and Kel was the show when I was a kid.
Oh, there you
Oh
go.
my goodness! And
Good
the,
burger. Yes.
yeah, the Good Burger. But man, do you remember the theme for the show? Like the theme
Keenan and
song?
Kel.
Yeah, like it's insane. The beat that, and you have Coolio
I know,
rapping.
right?
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness! Like yes, yes sir,
Yeah, but
yes
that's
sir.
perfect for you, brother. Yeah. Keenan
Man,
Thompson. Yeah, okay.
he also actually played Fat Albert. So there you go.
I
Uh,
guess I'm a bit arrogant when I just mentioned Vin Diesel to play me, but maybe if I'd have to think twice about it, let's say he's not available to play a biopic of a Filipino fat dude. Okay, maybe I can just choose Jonah Hill, back when he was still a little bit chubbier.
okay, 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 okay. But me, it's always gonna be Keenan Thompson because he's like my favorite actor growing up.
There you go.
He's a funny dude, and he's still funny now. Insane longevity with Saturday Night Live. So, man. Now, I'd like to get your perspective on being the interviewee. What
Okay.
are the things that you do to make sure that you get hired? Again, for just an agent post. Let's make it a little easier. Just an agent post. What's up?
Okay. Well, for an agent post, if it's the final interview, if it's face to face, obviously it's decorum. Even in the initial interview, you dress your best, tie, slacks, long sleeves, etc. Okay. Because I still remember one of the best final interviews I had as an agent. This was back in Sykes. I actually had an interview with the senior account manager back then, and we had it in the break room because there were no other rooms. This account was just starting up. All right. Um, and this was really this is a natural experience because that was the first time I actually broke open a bottle of perfume, and that perfume was Delacar. That was extremely expensive. And the first thing that she said to me when we sat down was, "Oh, that's a very nice perfume. Did you wear it for this occasion?" And I was still young. I wasn't trying to be modest, but I said yes. Uh, yes, I thought it would be nice. Ah, it's very nice. Okay. Um, and I just did something. I just put something. I'm not saying the perfume got me the job. All right, but we were in a freaking break room. All right, and so there were
It might.
people.
You never know. It
I know
might.
there were like people talking, at the background, but I just kept eye contact, even though I was still a little bit nervous. I kept eye contact every time she would ask me a question, okay, and this was something that I learned from my mom. Every time she asked me a question, I would lean back a little, like absorbing it. Okay. And then when I would answer a question, I would lean a little bit forward and I would sometimes move my hands because I was just so excited. Okay. And you should never cross your arms in an interview, especially if you're the interviewee. That's a huge no-no. So she would ask me questions about, um, she gave me like situational questions like, what if a customer is really, really mad at you and you just want to help them? Okay, I said that what I would do is I would just let the customer rant for like the next 15 minutes or no matter how long it takes. Okay, in the end, I'm not gonna match your energy. And this is something that I've always said even before. I'm not gonna match your energy because if I fight fire with fire, the fire will just grow larger. How do you fight fire? You fight fire with a fire extinguisher or water. So you use water or the fire extinguisher to quell their nerves or their irate behavior or their anger, and then then you come in and then you rebuild that trust by providing an actual resolution. So I like to use those things. I like to use metaphors, right? So if you want to use that, guys, okay, realistically, you do not fight fire with fire. You fight fire with water, fire extinguisher, carbon dioxide, or I wouldn't say air because it'll just make it lot bigger, or sand, possibly. Okay, so there you go. You can use that. Okay.
I'd like to actually step back a little and I don't know, nitpick on something that you said as a final interviewer. Uh,
Okay. Go ahead.
you mentioned that the situation is like they have a project to do. Its deadline is on Friday.
Yeah.
Emergency leave Wednesday. What are you gonna do? And an answer that you like is bring the work home, just like homework.
No, that
Never.
was the answer that she gave me. I
Yeah,
said, yeah, that works. I would say that works. Yeah, I'd say I like it.
yeah. I hate that because there should be a clear boundary between your personal life and your work life. Because if you don't, you're gonna end up like a uh, I'm trying to think of a better word for it, but you're gonna end up like a slave. They're gonna be called. You're gonna be called upon any time of the day, any day, regardless if you're on vacation, you're sick, or you're simply just out of the office, or it's your rest day. I hate that. Um, I don't necessarily uh, fail them right away, but uh, I don't like the notion of anyone going. This is not the extra mile. This is like the extra continent. Uh, because you're bringing the job home. And also, in my opinion, like if it's not like a life and death situation with the mother, or there's nothing like that. If you're just working and you have like 3 days to submit it, and you have to bring your work home, just to uh, make sure that you finish it, I think that that's just a sign of inefficiency and poor planning, either on the employee side or on the manager side. But then again, I'm not in that situation, so
Well, then
I
again,
kind
Well, then again, I'm gonna throw this back at you in terms of
of
context. Who do you
sure.
think gets called on to work on who do you think gets called on to work on holidays, RDs, and OTs? Who more so than agents gets to be called upon to go come back to the office and work?
Not me,
Okay.
because when
I'm
I'm
gonna tell
off,
you who's on call.
my phone is
Yeah, I
off.
know.
I'm not paid like
I'm gonna tell you
24/7.
who's on. I'm gonna tell you who's on call, and it's not agents. Okay, for the most part, the most stressful situation or scenario there is are those for managers because they're always on call, even on weekends, and I know that because lucky for me and you were in middle management, but people above us, okay, if there's a client coming in, okay, they would essentially call you during weekends. And you know what? you can't turn off your phone because you have a phone that they paid for that you have that you can never turn off, and it's part of the job description. Okay, so in essence,
That's the thing. If it's
yeah.
part of the job description, then you're it. But if it's not part of the job description, then I'll talk to
Well,
you on
then,
Monday.
well, there you go. That you have a point.
That's the thing, right?
Talk to my butt,
Um,
right?
and as somebody who is managing people now, um, I still don't get called. Um, well, most of the time. Sometimes I do get called. I am relied upon to save the day and still get deducted. You know the story.
I know the story, and look where you're at.
And look where I
Okay,
am.
you're getting more call. You're getting calls more than an agent level would. So there you go.
That's not really true, but I am getting more blame. I just told you
Yeah.
about that. But
That's
yeah,
yeah, I know. The higher you go, the more responsibilities you get, and I think it's like I don't know where this came about, but there's a certain professionalism in the industry where somebody needs to take the blame.
that
Somebody
that
actually
is
needs to
true.
be the scapegoat, which is a sad reality of almost everything.
And right now I'm it. In my current company, I'm it. But uh, last month I was not it, but I guess this month I'm it. So whatever. I just dust off my shoulders and move forward. So
There you go.
in terms of like the finality of like a final interview, there are situations that not that does not require uh final interviewers to ask, let's say, intermediate to difficult questions.
Hmm.
I've had final interviews wherein it's like an initial interview. Really, they're just again asking me about myself and my job experience, and that's it. I've had that. I don't know if you've had that. I'm sure you have. But
I've had that.
yeah, but in totality, why do you think that's the case? Is it a case of um, the company not really, like caring if you pass the final because they know that they're gonna hire you? Uh, like, because in some cases, I felt like after the second interview, which is like the uh, fit interview, I feel like the final interview is a finality or just a formality, if you will. Um, Not so much in terms of, oh, you're gonna get hired, but you're already one foot is already at the door. The door is open. You just have to come in. If you get my
Yeah,
drift.
I think here the thing is with all three aspects of those interviews. I mean, there at some point there isn't even going to be a behavioral interview. Sometimes you just go through initial and then a final. Okay, but to answer your question, we get different interviewers for each level interview, right? And I think it could be summed up by the fact that those people who are interviewing you don't know you. They still don't know you from the first interviewer. Okay, so you're pretty much going to be saying most of the same things to another stranger. And I think it has everything to do with them liking you, or all three of them liking you. All two of them liking you, the initial interviewer, final interviewer, all three of them liking you, initial, mid, and the final interviewer. Okay, all three of them liking you and seeing something in you. Essentially, you're more than likely parroting yourself. And I know you know what I'm talking about because that's how I'm pretty sure that was our shared experience when we worked for our company back in 2021. Okay. And I'm giving a big shout out to Emapta. I'm not scared of it. Okay. It's a
I'm not
wonderful
giving them
company.
a shout out.
Okay. I'm still giving them a shout out. Yeah, I know you won't.
I'm
Let's
I'm
not
giving a shout out to Unified. Love
unified,
those guys.
unified.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yes.
Michael. Oh my goodness, I am so embarrassed. What is his last name?
Why are you
Michael
asking
Bundy.
me? There you
Michael
go.
Bundy.
Okay.
I know you're not listening, but man, you right after my mentor Ashley go first, you the man.
There you go. Anyway, so going back to that, when you say you already had one foot in the door with the initial interview, it's a matter of the other people liking you already. I mean, more often than not, they're still looking for stuff. But if they like you and they see you're a good fit, they like your personality, that's it. You're in. All right. Um, your skill sets are either negligible or are either uh already taken into account, much like your current job right now. Initial interviewer knows that you're qualified. Final interviewer knows you're qualified. They just uh, they just talk to see if they can actually work with you or if they like you. Do you agree? You said
One
one foot in the door.
hundred
Yeah.
percent, agree. And sometimes not even just them liking. And again, guys, we're only talking about entry level positions. So like the bar for entry is not really that high. Uh, but of course, as you go up the ladder, barriers will be significantly higher. Just ask
Oh
us.
yeah. Yeah. You can ask us. You can ask him most of all. Yeah.
Oh man, like dude. So, um, after the final interview, this is not really part of the my agenda for today originally, but um, here's the fun part: job offer,
Oh wow. Okay.
job offer. Sometimes it depends on the company. Sometimes you get job offers on the spot, like a little 1 day hiring process. Like you start at 10 a.m., you end the interview process and the job offer at like 2 a.m. Because I've had that. So why does some company take 4 hours to get your job offer? Why does company take 4 weeks?
Um, that would again depend on the company, the situation. Like if there was a BPO or a call center that needs to fill in seats by a specific date, they're gonna rush it. They're not even gonna ask for your requirements until you're already working. Um, and then there's a company I can actually relate because I applied for an entry level agent position in July and I got the job in September. All right. And the reason why that is because they don't try to grow as much or they don't hire they don't hire every month. Okay. Because they already have a quota. It's like they're already backing stuff up when they project that their attrition for this specific month is going to be
You
like
are the
this.
dreaded backfill.
Yes, the backfill. So that actually happens. So depending on the situation, you can get a 1 day hiring process if they need to fill the seats, or if a more upscale company, or if they need you for if they actually need you and you have the right skills and not a lot of people have, you're going to be backfilled into a spot. They're just going to hope that they're just going to just going to spray and pray that hopefully that by this time you still don't have a job and then they'll offer it to you. That happens. It's happened to me. So yeah.
Luckily, it hasn't happened to me. So I do know what the backfill term is. Well, I guess it did happen to me. It's just that I was the last person to fill the backfill. So, and funny enough, that's my first company. So, the last person that got hired for the backfills is me. And you know, doing this like session and this topic really opened my eyes to uh, the other ways an interview can go. Like initial interview can go a literal 1,000 different ways. So does every other interview after that. So what I'm trying to say is that once you get an interview with any company, and I'm talking any company, his former company, my former company, our former company, doesn't matter. Once you're in, like the initial interview, and you pass that, you are one step closer. Every uh, I guess every process that you pass is a step closer to the ultimate goal, which is to get that job offer. What
There you
I'm
go.
what I want to impart in closing, um, uh, Papa Bear is a very honest, kind, fair person. While I am honest as much as I can, I am fair all the time, but I'm not kind. And my end goal is to bag, get that bag, and put food on the table, electricity running through my house, and medical bills to pay. So my in closing, my suggestion to all of you guys is do whatever it takes to get that job, and then figure it out. Because if you don't, if you only do like if you fake it till you make it and that's it, then you're just gonna fail, and you're gonna give a bad reputation not just to yourself but everybody else that's trying to do the hustle. But if you fake it till you make it and then you figure it out, then eventually you'll be the person that you're trying to be. And that's a good thing in my opinion. So get that bag, get that contract, and then figure it out.
I'd like to disagree with him on that
Mhm.
because I really don't like faking it till you make it. However, I will have to say that I actually agree with it, just because for the simple fact that, well, everybody needs to make a living, and that's the reality of things. And I'm pretty sure that that's not that does not just apply to the BPO world. I'm pretty sure it applies to most other jobs as well. Like if you're an actor, hey, can you ride a horse? Yeah, of course. And you just learn how to ride a horse later. Or hey, can you play guitar? Yeah, of course. Yeah, I can play a guitar, but I can't. I'll just learn to do that later, right? So those things. So, in essence, I would agree with that. Just do whatever it takes to get that bag. Do whatever it takes to support your family. Do whatever it takes to put food on the table. And we're doing our best with it. At least he is right now. I'm still looking for that because we need a lot of food on our table in order to keep this, you know, these bodies, these PHAT bodies, as healthy as we could make it.
Oh my goodness, that's actually correct. On that note, we'd like to wrap up this episode by thanking again our episodes Cyberbacker for not hiring Papa Bear.
Our
So he had
sponsors, you mean? Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, our sponsors Cyberbacker for not hiring Papa Bear, and because he did not hire him, he now has enough gusto to make or crank a lot of these episodes. So thank you
Right. I'd like to thank Jollibee again for the champs. You guys are the champ. Please send me some.
for free this time, for free.
Alrighty.
All right,
Thank you
man.
so much. I appreciate everything, guys. You guys leave your comments in the comment section as to what you think of the show and also what you would like for us to talk about next time. And if you need any tips, additional tips or coaching with regard to interviews and stuff like that, yeah, just do drop us a comment. Okay, we'll see if we can help you out.
All right, y'all. Ciao.
Two fat Filipinos in the house. Two fat Filipinos in the know. Two fat Filipinos all night. Two fat Filipinos. Let's flow.